Hello folks, it seems that my last video that I did on, what was it now? Guitar reviewers on YouTube sparked some interest. And it always keeps me guessing as to what's going to catch people's attention when I do videos. So I can do a video on a guitar that I'm really excited about and very little response. I can do a guitar that I have to a review on a guitar that I have to force myself to do because perhaps it's not as exciting, gets lots of likes, and then sometimes I just expatiate on various themes to do with selling, fixing, people, internet, which sometimes catches people's imagination as well. And this thing about people on YouTube reviewing guitars has sparked a reasonable response, including at least a dozen new people who have signed up to support the channel. So that's good. But what I'm hearing from you is that there's a certain amount of consternation, perhaps disappointment, perhaps among you listeners, purveyors of YouTube music channels. You're pointing out some obvious defects with certain types of reviewers and guitar channels, uke channels, that kind of thing. And a lot of you are just sort of seconding what I said on that video and adding your own experiences, comments, which is nice to hear. Yes, there are too many people doing reviews where they're getting obviously a demo from the company they're reviewing, and of course that skews the review. We've all seen that. We've all seen examples of it, which is why I put that video out a couple of weeks ago saying I haven't received any demos from any companies or any solicitations whatsoever. Nothing. I must be the only guitar channel guy on YouTube that hasn't had an invitation to review a guitar from Glary. Maybe it's because I put a video out about Glary where the title might have been construed as being somewhat negative. But there you go. Yeah, I buy all these things, I fix them up, I sell them, I keep them, I play them, I record with them. That's me. I'm not getting boxes shipped to me for favorable reviews. So I just tell you what I find out and what can be done with them. So that separates me a little bit from some of the reviewers, because some of them are reviewing right out of the box, and that's another thing that you commented on, is that you're seeing also a lot of videos where people have unreasonable responses to instruments they take out of a box that's been shipped through various time zones and obviously gone through physical changes. Yeah, that really annoys me as well. I'm not sure why some of the more experienced reviewers sometimes lapse into that. You'd think they'd learn by now that that's a really unreasonable expectation. And of course, some of you have pointed out that a lot of these cheaper, unknown brand guitar companies are not doing the QC. They're just shipping you a good guitar with good materials, and then you sort of have to set them up to get the most out of them. Case in point, this one I'm holding right here. This is one of the Idlewild solid cedar models that I've done videos on before, so I'm not going to talk about too much. But it's the solid cedar with really nice mahogany. Fishman Electronics. You get them for Monoprice. I think you can get them on Amazon and eBay as well. I'm not sure if they match them on a price. But these are decent guitars. Solid top, good materials, great electronics. Really like the cap keys on these. All bound. I think it's bone, nut, and saddle. But you got to set them up. They're not going to come out the box sounding like your $5,000 Collings or some custom-made guitar that you had shipped to you with some guy that worked on it, obsessively for months. You're not going to get the same sort of stuff. So I think some people's expectations are really unrealistic. And people are allowed to have those unrealistic expectations, but when they put themselves out as an expert and make that a standard for other people, I think that's where you're maybe overstepping a little bit. So I appreciate all the feedback that I got on that, and a lot of you are also saying that that you're finding a lot of these types of brands to be just as good as the big name brands. Of course, that's been a theme of my channel from the beginning. I recently worked on a Fender CD60, I think it was, and it was so bad I didn't make a video of it. Just proof that, you know, just because it's a top brand, it doesn't mean that that it's automatically better than something that you don't know about. A lot of times they're made in the same factories with the same specs, sometimes even the same parts and electronics. So, you know, brand snobbery is a bit stupid. It's a bit passé. I'm surprised people are still doing it. But there's enough of you that are responding in support of the things I'm saying and giving me your own experiences in these matters. So I know I must be at least on the right note on some of these issues. Of course, I'm not infallible, and I can be countered and questioned and debated with. I'm not above all that. Basically, you know, I get inside these things. You know, I not on guitars, but I pull tops off of cellos and violins. I learn how they're constructed. I know how wood works. You know, I know how kerfing and blocks and tops and sound posts and you know, joinery works, because I've been inside these things and done enough setup and restoration to have what I consider to be some experience. But I'm not in agreement with all people of my experience level. There are a lot of luthiers out there, or people that are restorers or guitar technicians, if that's what they call themselves, who subscribe to the you know, you get what you pay for, you should only buy reputable brands type of stuff. So we're not all in agreement. I just basically tell you what my experience teaches me from having been inside a few hundred cellos and violins and guitars and lutes and God knows what else with strings on it. And I just try to be as honest as possible. So a lot of these guitars that I show you, I always try to make the caveat that they need a setup. They need a good setup. They don't come always in playable condition, but with a little tweaking, a lot of times, most times, if I make a video on it, it's because I've made a good guitar of it and it plays. So appreciate the feedback, appreciate you sharing your experiences. I appreciate the new folks coming on board. Yeah, it gives the channel a bit of energy. So I'm glad for it. And keep your stories coming, keep commenting. I appreciate it, and I enjoy the rapport and the banter, as long as it's nice, or at least you know, not hateful. Let's put it that way. All right, folks. See you next time.